You know, it's funny that the same guy that directed this made this.
I'm gonna meow the f out of you.
Alright, here we go. Iron Lung is the newest film that is directed by a popular YouTuber, this time directed by Markiplier. Not only that, but it is also based off the popular video game of the same name. So if you have no idea who Markiplier is, he is a famous YouTuber who got really big by playing scary video games. But not only that, Markiplier is my favorite YouTuber of all time. I have been watching him since I was in middle school, like about 15 years ago. I mean, I remember I used to watch his stuff before he even got huge, like over 100,000 subscribers. I have been a fan of his since pretty much the very beginning. So of course I was going to review his movie. I review movies on YouTube. Of course I'm going to review my favorite YouTuber's movie. But I will say, I'm going to be absolutely fair when I review this film. Yes, I'm a huge fan of Markiplier, but I'm going to be reviewing this movie through the critic's eye and not through a biased perspective. So the question that everybody is asking, is Iron Lung a good movie? Well, I'm happy to say that Iron Lung is a bloody good time. After a catastrophic event known as the Quiet Rapture, every star and planet in the galaxy has disappeared, only leaving a few moons and space stations. Now throughout the galaxy, the last remaining survivors are exploring every moon they can for survival. And one of these survivors is Simon, a convict who was sent on a mission to explore a moon that has an ocean of blood. And if Simon completes this mission, he gets his freedom. But it turns out that maybe this moon has some dark secrets lying in the depths. The first thing that I can praise about this movie is the brilliant production design. You can tell that Mark and his team put a lot of effort into recreating the look and feel of the video game. And I think they did an excellent job here. It's as if they took the submarine from the game and put it straight into this movie. It looks beautiful. I mean, everything here is spot on, from the dials to the control panels to the button that Simon needs to press for his camera in his submarine. This whole set looks amazing, and if you're a fan of the game, you're going to notice all these little details while you're watching the film. And the film feels really claustrophobic as well, just like the video game. You really do feel like you're trapped in this submarine with Simon at the very bottom of this blood ocean. And as the film goes on, you gain more tension as the ship starts to fall apart from the inside. There will be points in the film where you'll be holding your breath, the tension is so tight. And the sound design is just mwah. It is fantastic here, especially moments in the film where Simon has to press this button to take pictures outside the ship, and every time he takes a picture it makes this loud sound, and every time it makes that sound you just feel a lot of tension, because whenever that picture pops up that Simon took, you have no idea what's coming next. And other sound bits too, like the creaking of the hull of the submarine, or the loud footsteps as Simon walks back and forth to the control panels, or the loud ocean waves. All these sound bits here are just spectacular and add so much flavor to this movie. And the practical effects here, holy shit, they are so gnarly. I could be wrong here, but I think this film now holds the record for the most amount of fake blood used in a movie. And man, they use every drop of blood in this movie in such a cool way. I mean, there's some grotesque, gnarly effects here that might be a bit too much for some, especially near the end of the movie. Now, I won't say that this film is a body horror movie, but there are a few little practical effects here that are so gnarly and gross, like some moldy blood spores inside the submarine. A lot of cool little effects in here just make this movie so rich and increases the amount of scare factors here. It's not a terrifying movie, but every time you see blood creaking into the ship, you feel a lot more tension, wondering when this ship is just gonna break. And what surprised me is how beautiful the film looks. Now, most YouTuber movies look kind of bad with flat cinematography, but here, the film looks amazing with some very unique camera angles. Like whenever the ship is moving forward, the camera pans along with it so it feels like you're moving along with the submarine. And the thing is, They were able to add in so many cool visuals in this film in such a tight claustrophobic set. Okay, so I've gone on and on about how great the film looks, but what about the other aspects of the film? Well, let's start off with the performances. Not only did Mark write and direct this movie, but he also stars in it as well. And I won't lie, this is the main aspect of the film I was most skeptical about going in. Now, Mark has made some short film projects on his YouTube channel before, so I know he has the acting chops to give off a good performance, but I was worried I would not be able to separate Mark from the character of Simon. I was worried throughout watching the whole movie if I was just going to see Mark and not an actual character. And for the most part, I think Mark did a great job here with his performance. Now, I won't lie, the first 20 minutes or so, all I saw was Mark on the screen, but as the film went on, I started to see Simon as more of a character. The way how Mark plays this convict trying to escape out of the situation that he's in, you're just rooting for him every step of the way. And that's another great aspect about this movie is the character of Simon. He's a very compelling character. He has a very interesting, though somewhat vague backstory about why he's a convict and why he's in this situation. And as the film goes on, the more that's revealed about him, the more you start to care about his character. You learn about this faction that Simon was a part of and how he has these own somewhat religious beliefs about the quiet rapture. And as the film goes on, he learns more secrets about this blood ocean that he's in, and he just starts spiraling out of control. He's such a unique character trying to escape out of this situation. He's not just a blank slate character like in the video game. He's an actual person with goals and morals. You really do feel for this character every single step of the way, especially when he starts to lose hope whenever the ship is falling apart. He's questioning his own morals and beliefs about the quiet rapture. You really are just hoping this character makes it out alive. And that is elevated because of Mark's great performance. He really does bring this character to life. Now we get to my main criticism about the movie. Sure, I've talked about how great the film looks, the good performances, the great character, but there's one aspect you might have noticed that I haven't really talked about, and that is the story. Now, the story isn't bad per se, but the best way how I can describe it is that it is way too vague. Now, in fairness, Mark had pretty much the impossible task of making this gameplay into a compelling story. If you've never played the game before, you're going to be confused as hell watching this movie. The film throws in all these different lore bits and all this weird mythology in the Iron Lung universe, and never takes time to fully explain what it all means. And I don't mean in a show don't tell kind of way, I mean the film never takes time to fully explain what is really happening in this universe. And you're just going to be left confused if you've never played the game. Hell, I played the game and I was still confused. I'm not fully caught up on the Iron Lung lore, so by the end of the movie, I kind of had no idea what was going on, being honest. I was having a fun time watching the movie and I was very entertained, but I was just kind of in it for the ride, like, okay, this is fun. I have no idea what's happening, but it's cool. The film will add in all these random lore bits all over the place, and it never really adds any weight to the story. Instead, it just makes the story more confusing. Like this faction that Simon is a part of. They believe in this thing called the Eden Tree, I think, and they mention the Eden Tree a few times, and I had no idea what the Eden Tree even was. Is it a mystical tree? Is it like the last surviving tree? I don't know. And they bring up this factory thing that Simon blew up, I think, or this spaceship that Simon blew up, that I had no idea what that was about, but they kept bringing that up over and over again. There are a lot of different lore bits here and there that don't add any weight to the story because the film never explains any of it. I mean, again, I was entertained and I was interested in the universe that it kept on exploring, but I was still just confused. Now, don't get me wrong, the main plot of Simon trying to survive the situation that he's in is definitely engaging, but I feel like there are too many bumpy moments in the story that take you out of the experience. I feel like maybe if there were a few more moments that fleshed out the lore that this film is trying to explore, I feel like the story could have been far more engaging and far more interesting than what we got. And especially because the film is 2 hours long, and that gets into my other complaint about the movie, and that's the pacing. Now, I don't think this film was a bore like many people are saying. I was very engaged throughout the whole movie, but there are definitely some scenes that could have been cut short, for sure. Now, the game is literally just taking pictures and driving to different spots, and that would be pretty much impossible to make that an engaging story for 2 hours. And there are moments where the film pretty much only does that. It's Simon pressing a button, taking a picture, driving somewhere, pressing a button, taking a picture, driving somewhere, and it's like that for a good chunk of the movie. Now, yes, that is what the video game is like, but that video game is only 45 minutes. Now, sure, the film does more than the video game, but I feel like maybe this film could have been condensed down to maybe an hour 45, maybe an hour 30. Now, the pacing isn't horrendous, but I feel like it could have easily been trimmed up a bit. Now, unfortunately, I do have one more minor complaint about the film on the technical side of things, and that is the audio mixing. Now, I understand that this is an independent film, so more issues when it comes to the technical side of things are bound to be shown, but I won't lie, there are a few moments in this film where I could not understand a single word that was being said, especially for moments during the film where audio is being said through this intercom inside of Simon's submarine. They add in this staticky filter to try and make it seem like the submarine is super cheap and the speaker is really cheap, but unfortunately, it really does mess up the audio. It makes it sound like the audio is coming from those like crappy McDonald's drive-thrus, like where you can't understand anything the guy behind the drive-thru speaker is saying. That's how I felt watching this movie. There'll be things where the intercom goes, and I'm like, what'd they say? And sometimes the music will be a bit too loud to where the dialogue is harder to hear. There are quite a few audio mixing issues here that I just noticed. And I'm hoping whenever we get a DVD release, the audio mixing will be improved or maybe fixed. But for now, the way how the film is at release, it's kind of a disappointment on that technical aspect. Guys, I thought this was a damn good movie and such a great directorial debut from Markiplier, and I cannot wait to see what he has in store for us next time. And also, this was such an inspirational film for me because watching my favorite YouTuber that I watched since I was a kid make a film for the big screen makes me think one day maybe one of my projects could be on the big screen. Who knows? And if a film makes me feel like that at the very end, you know that means this film is truly something special. Which is why I'm gonna give Iron Lung the gold top hat. To all my fancy friends out there, thank you so much for watching. But if it's your first time hearing like what you've seen, be sure to subscribe for more content. And have you seen Iron Lung? What did you think about it? Let me know in the comments down below. I hope you have a fantastic night. And as always, stay fancy.